Welcome to another episode of Everybody in Breaking Bias, Unit 5, in groups and out groups. So one of the things we know is that if we fail to really encourage people to be self-reflective, the way that starts to the failure of that manifestation is that we start to create these in groups and these out groups, right? So folks in the in group start to develop certain kinds of ways of acting and behaving and interacting, and folks in the out group respond often in some very interesting ways. And so when we think about this notion of being in the in group and out group, we recognize that it's a manifestation of oftentimes folks either not being well, actually, what I believe is that these are the results of obstacle illusions, artificial barriers to authentic human relations. And so we'll talk a little bit about that in this unit. And so what I would encourage you to do, that there is a unit on YouTube that is it's called the Starbelly Sneeches, and it's about depending on which version you get, 4 to 6 minute video, and so I'd encourage you to watch that. And as we have this conversation, it'll make more sense to you as we move forward. So I'd encourage you to do that, because what we recognize is that there are thoughts and behaviors that are associated with this in-group and out-group. And I want you to think about in your own life, in your K-12 experience, or even, in your extracurricular life, are there, particularly if you went to school in the West, was there a hierarchy in your K-12 experience? And for those of us who kind of went to traditional schools, we recognize that the jocks have a certain status in the school, that the smart kids, the IB kids have a certain kind of honors kids have a certain kind of status in the school, that the golf team and the wrestling team and the debate team and the chess team, there's kind of all the loners, the emo kids. So there's all these kind of levels in a school building. And so what we recognize is that this division between so-called groups, there's some rationale behind that, right? So there's some reason behind those groups engaging in that way. And so what we ask for you to do is think about what are the goals of those groups, and what does this in-group and out-group serve? And so what are some of the behaviors of the in-group? How do in-group members behave? And then what are some thoughts that the in-group has, right? And what are some of the behaviors of the out-group, and what are some of the thoughts of the out-group? Now, the real crux of this, and so after you go through this whole activity, the real thrust of this isn't to have us magnify the strife or the differences, but to recognize that as leaders, it is our responsibility to, if people make lines in the sand, it is our job as leaders to draw circles around those lines, right? And so how do we make sure that we get everyone in? Well, first of all, we have to recognize what it is that people are after. And all human beings are after safety, significance, and belonging. All human beings, right? But how they get those things may be, in fact, very different, given their context, given where they've grown up, given their resources, given their worldviews. How they get those things is very different. And so when we think about these in-groups and out-groups, they're all trying to get very similar things, but it's up to us as leaders to figure out how do we break down those silos to make sure that people are getting what they want, what they need, and what they desire. And so if we can get people safety, if we can get them significance, if we can get them belonging, then we are operating on at our optimum, right? So we're operating at a very high level. And so with that, we're going to end this particular session. We talked a little bit about in groups and out groups, what the thoughts are, what the behaviors are, and as leaders, what we should be doing to to bring all of those groups together. Again, my name is Andre Koen. I want to say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for engaging us in this conversation of everybody in Unit 5 in and out groups. And we look forward to seeing who you become as we work to make sure that everybody gets in. I'm Andre Koen. Have a great day.